What's up everybody, this is Liam from reviewsforyou.com and this is our review of the hTC One M7, and not to get confused with the M8, this was the year before. Right, so the M7 is a 4.7 inch full 1080p phone from hTC, obviously, their flagship for 2013. And it supports GSM, HSPA and LTE, so that's 4G. And the first thing I would like to note about this is the 4G signal is excellent. I've not been able to go anywhere without getting it. This is my personal phone that I've had for 2 years, well 3 years now, so bear with me on this. It might be a little bit slow compared to what you're used to. It was announced way back in February of 2013, released in March of 2013. It carries a micro SIM, which we see here, the micro SIM card slot. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't have expandable storage, but you do get 32 gigabytes with it, so that should be enough for most people. It has a 1920 by 1080p screen, which is an IPS panel, and has a pretty staggering, really, for a phone at the time, pretty staggering pixel count of 469 ppi. It does have the multi-touch function, which, as we can see here, is quite good, which I'll get to later as well. We'll explore this a little later. It has Corning Gorilla Glass 2 and HTC Sense 5.0 out of the box. Now, as this is my own personal phone, I've not only upgraded from the Android 4.2.1, which was Jelly Bean. This is now on, because it's 32 gig and still gets HTC Sense and their updates, this is now on Android 5.0, which is Lollipop. So this is a little bit different compared to what you're used to. It has the Qualcomm 600 Snapdragon processor, quad-core 1.7 gig of RAM with Crate 300, runs on the Adreno 320 GPU. Now, with the 32 gig of internal memory, it also has 2 gigabytes of RAM. That 2 gigabytes of RAM was pretty flabbergasting back in the day, which I guess we can say, because most phones at that time were running on between 1.5 and 1.7 gigahertz, and they were mainly dual core rather than quad core processors, which means the 2 gigabytes of RAM means that there is very little lag, if any at all. Very, very snappy, even by today's standards, which it still should be, as I paid over £600 for it. Yeah. Now, the rear camera, if we see here, is a 4 megapixel, or should I say ultra pixel, because this is HTC and they introduced these ultra pixels, which basically is equivalent to a 16 megapixel. The ultra pixel lets more light in and is better in low light conditions. It has laser autofocus, an LED flash, and can record in full 1080p HD video, and that's at 30 frames per second. It can also record in standard HD and has stereo sound for enhanced audio quality. Now, the front camera is a 2.1 megapixel camera, so pretty good, even still. Recording in 1080p at 30 frames per second again, with HDR and an LED flash. Now, we've gone into a little bit of the sort of internal specs. Let me give you a little bit of external. Here we see the overview of the phone, starting from this lovely, juicy 4.7 inch screen, which, as I've said, is an IPS panel. HTC's boom sound backed up by Beats audio, front firing speakers, and I've never ever had a phone that's louder, and believe me, I've had several phones. even since this. Which says something, it's still my favourite. It's a bit tricky to see some of it, as I was a spanner at the time and got the black model. I should have got the silver and it looks so much better, but yeah, we'll bypass it. On this side, on the right side, we have the volume rockers, and that's about it. The bottom we have our micro USB 0.1 charging cable, so pretty standard fare there. Now this phone does, with the Android upgrade, it can support quick charging, which is good. Not wireless charging, but you can also get power charging apps, which I've got on this, which can boost your charging by about half an hour. On this side we have nothing at all, and on the top we have our 3.5mm headphone jack and our on-off power button, which is actually one thing I'm not particularly keen on about this phone. It's one of the few things, as I'm right-handed, and as we can see, I can go from using the phone to wanting to turn it off. I have to juggle it in my hand to be able to get to it. So yeah. Back to a few little specs, I'd say. And this thing, the audio, supports MP3, MP4, standard affair. It has a built-in FM radio, and this was hTC's first partnership with Beats. Also, so it has the hTC Boom Sound speakers, backed up by Beats for lovely rich bass and a bloody loud stereo. Now if we look here, we can see that the, I'll just turn airplane mode off. As we can see, even for a 3-year-old phone, this supports the 5 gigahertz networks, which is fantastic, really. And it also has hTC's power saver, which can make the battery last for quite an awful long time, which is essentially the same as the Samsung variant. So it goes on to grayscale, and your battery will last on standby for about 1.5 to 2 days, even from my heavy usage. Now the battery is a 2,800 milliamp hour, which was pretty good for this time and for a phone of this size, because as we can see, I haven't got the biggest of hands, but it's pretty compact, really. So yeah, and I'd say for the rest of this review, we're going to get on with what it's like to live with this phone, what I like, what I don't like, and what could be good for you if you're wanting an older flagship phone for a budget price, which these things are now. They've gone very decent value. So to live with, this phone has not frozen on me ever at all, which shows you that at this time HTC have bolstered up their software and firmware with the RAM and processor power. And if we look, you occasionally get the tiniest bit of lag, but really not that much. Web browsing is extremely smooth. I can't do it at the moment because, as we can see, we are offline. Oh, Google's working. For a 3-year-old phone, you'd expect it to be a little bit laggy by now.
And the one thing I do not like about this phone, now the new HTCs are fine, but the one thing I don't like about this is this stupid home button right here that you have to push twice to get to your recent app screen. That I hate, because half the time it refuses to work. That's awkward. So you're going along, you've got low battery, you want to get rid of all your apps, because I'm one of them people that has 1,001 apps open at once. You go to do that, and half the time it sticks, and because I'm on video, I knew it wouldn't do it. Pain in the ass. Now for the storage on this is brilliant. 32 gigs of internals, which means plenty of photos, plenty of videos, and plenty of music. And as we see here, it's stopped. It's decided to not work. Give me a second. Bonza. Back again. Now, YouTube, very fast. The video playback is very good. The 4 megapixel camera. Let me just show you that quickly.
It's a camera and a camera, people.
This is for you camera buffs. I know you're going to love it. Focusing is super sharp and takes picture instantly. Now we can play around with all the settings. There's quite a few of them, so bear with me. I haven't been able to go through. I still haven't gone through all of these. I haven't had it for 3 years. As we can see, the video goes up to 1080p. Let's have a look at the image that we've just taken. So it should have come out anyway, but yeah, it's one frustrating thing about the HTC gallery is nothing comes out quite as you wanted it or expected it. But if we look here, look at this, very nice clear, especially in the light. But even where the light is not, you can still see what's written extremely clearly, which is always good. Now, boom sound. This is what I love most about this phone. The boom sound speakers. Now, if you give me a second, I have too much music on here, so I just pick something random. Have a listen to that. Even by today's standards, this is one of the loudest, if not still the loudest speaker around, backed up by Beats by Audio. It's a very clear, rich music experience, but this music leads us on to a problem. And there's one thing I love to do with music. Some of those people that listen to it through earphones can do it all day long, so I like to have it how I want it, like most of you people could probably agree with. But as far as I can work out, there is no way to adjust the equaliser. Now, it's fine when you've got it on speaker, as this is nice and clear, but when you're listening to it through earphones, it can have a tendency to be slightly tinny.
A bit like that cough.
Thank you, my good assistant, holding my camera for me.
Growl. Sorry, sir.
You fucking will be, you bastard.
Don't worry, this is a family-friendly show.
I'm not sure about that.
Anyway, back with the review.
Yes, people, back to the review. Excuse me, I do have a bad cough and cold. I really shouldn't be doing this, but just for the love of you people, I am. So, as I said, bear with me. Now, as of the 1.9 GHz processor and 2 gigs of RAM, gaming on this is very, very smooth. Even intense games such as the new Mobile Strike game, launched by Arnold Schwarzenegger, the crappy wrestling supercard game thingy is...
WWE!
Thank you, my good gay assistant.
How dare you!
And the pretty freaking awesome, if not very frustrating, Need for Speed No Limits have all run smoothly. The only app I've ever had that's crashed was Snapchat, but that's because it's crap, which I'm going to get rid of very soon. So yeah, all in all, to live with, I'll give this, out of 10, I'll give this about an 8. Simply because the little niggly points such as the music, it has frozen me once or twice, and the occasional closing down of apps. But, all in all, fantastic phone, and if you are in the needing a new phone, say your current phone's broken, you need a new one as a temporary, you can pick these things up now for roughly about £80–90, or $80 or $90, because the US economy, but yeah, we won't go into that too much.
Or 60 British pounds.
It's £80, you spanner.
Whichever, they're brilliant fun, you can find them anywhere.
Yeah, it is a very good phone, you can find it. I'd well recommend getting it, even if you are a newcomer to the smartphone world, and your name is Glenn or Dorothy, or something.
Or Con.
Yeah, or Papas, yeah. And you're very fat.
Not that we've got anything against obese people. These phones are just very difficult to break.
Yeah, essentially this is a brick, right?
Think of the old Nokia brick. This is the HTC version of a Nokia
Yeah.
brick.
Watch this, guys. Watch this.
Look,
Flat on the
good
screen.
Yes, maybe on the paper, but if you got an iPhone like that, that'll probably blow into a billion pieces.
An iPhone would literally blow it out of its own charging port.
Go off like a bloody rocket.
Charge it. I prefer the blow out of the headphone jack or something ridiculous because it's a family friendly review.
Yes.
This guy's like,
Anyway.
and you're distracting me. Shut up.
This wraps up our phone review. Next week, we'll be reviewing Super Mario Bros.